What's going on, guys? This is Stevie Legend. You're listening to the 3 Count Podcast. How you guys doing today?
Do you wanna get live with me? Do you really wanna ride with me? I'm in the club, baby, grind on me.
Welcome everyone to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And by now, with this being season 5 and our 300 and something episode, I would just hope you say it with me. I am your Sherpa, because like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficient than you can. So it's never about me, it's about who's entering the ring. So who's entering the ring today? You can find this person at Blitzkrieg. You can find him at XWA, BST, NWW, PAPW, Tough and Talented, SNW, and so much more. Actually, how I really want to go about this one. Some are myths, some are fairy tales, but none are Stevie Legend.
I love that. I love that intro. Thank you, man.
No
How you doing, buddy? What's up?
Oh no, man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great, enjoying myself. Things are going good. Things are happening. I guess we'll say,
Good to hear.
at least
Good to hear.
now. Yeah, now that I'm in the New England area, and I guess I've been here for about a year now. But like now, things are starting to pick up, so I'm pretty happy.
Cool.
What about you, man? Because we met at SNW, and then we got to see each other again at a recent charity event, was what we'll call it. Because I guess there was no real affiliation with who was running it, but met ourselves there, and then from there, I was like, "Yo, of course, you got to bring Stevie on the podcast because we have conversations."
Yeah, for sure. I got a lot of cool stuff going on in my life right now, both wrestling and personal life. So I just wanted to talk with the fans and say what's going on in Stevie Land.
Hell yeah! Hey, is that what you call it, Stevie Land?
I guess I just came up with that now.
Yo, I actually know you got to keep it now.
Yeah,
Oh man, no, but so seeing you move from place to place and kind of running, and seeing you with some championships and stuff, carrying gold and doing your thing. I'm curious, man. Like, do you feel like there's like an added pressure in carrying a title?
especially it being a world title. Yeah, definitely. Like, I definitely feel like my role both in front of the camera and in the locker room has definitely changed a bit, which I am really loving. I really feel like the guys are really, enjoying being around me and enjoying working with me. And yeah, I really want to have the best match on the card, especially when I'm in the main event now at 2TW. Definitely.
Yeah, it's the one thing about like, there's people that especially when you're in that championship position or you're holding a title and like you're repping like a company or repping like a brand, I know because like
even like in school, like I'm kind of helping a lot of the newer kids come up now too, which I'm really enjoying.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy when you're like, someone puts that trust in you and is like, hey, I want you to represent this the best way that you can, and put it out as many social media platforms as you can, do this, get people talking about the company. So it's definitely like it. I especially for me right now, because we're like, this is my second one, right? My second individual title, and like the Infinite Plus network, which coincidentally we're on right now. Hi. It's weird because it's like it's a new network that's like getting put out there, and it's like, am I doing the best job that I am for this place? What more could I do if I'm not? And like, I have to ask myself questions all the time, and I'm just like, sometimes it's just best to ask other people who were champions how they're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, Vinny's kind of, had a lot of faith in me for a while. Obviously, he gave me the Big Jim Cup last year, and that was supposed to be a really big stepping stone for me. And he basically told me earlier this year that he wanted to bet on me, and I was really, really excited about it. And I had a lot of friends come out to the show about it. I have a lot of them coming out to the next show on the 31st. A lot of my new friends from work coming out too, and now they're all really excited about wrestling and having a wrestler in the office. It's really cool.
Do you find that odd, like when people come up to you and are like, hey, are you the pro wrestler, or are you a wrestler?
Yeah, it's I pretty much told pretty much everybody at work about it. They all know I'm called Stevie Legend in the office. No one calls me McBride. It's and they all have a lot of questions, and they're all super excited about it. Like, I'm in a really good work environment at work now, and I'm really, really loving it.
That's cool though. I know, like for me, at my place, like I just like everybody knows me as Cliff, right? So they're always
Mhm.
like, "Hey, what's up, Cliff? Like, how are things going?" I'm like, "Good, good, good." Like, how's that wrestling thing going? I'm like, "Well, please don't call it a wrestling thing. I do understand where you're coming from, but I was like, yo, it's going great, like and I love it." And they're like, "Hey, I have." And they always ask this question, "Why do they call you Red Dog?" I was like, "Well, my first name's Clifford," and everybody's like, "Oh." Like, I get it. And I'm like, yeah. So then I show them pictures and like videos and stuff like that so they can see. And yeah, it is cool to see people get excited about pro wrestling and then like reach people that aren't normal.
My boss is also a TV legend. It's kind of weird, but I love it.
It's cool though. So let me ask, who is Stevie Legend?
Uh, Pretty close to Stephen McBride. Uh, I'm pretty much me. I love people. I love meeting new fans and having a really strong relationship with my fans. I think that's something that draws a lot of the fans to me is that I'm really open and pretty much myself with them and always willing to talk on social media and always accepting messages, anything, and always trying to give back as best I can to the fans and try to really serve the fans because I know what it's like to be one. I still am one, and yeah, I'm just like them, and we all get to enjoy this thing together.
I like that. I like that a lot. Do you have a favorite fan interaction?
I love like a lot of the younger kids, especially because that's where I started when I was that age. That's why I do the sunglasses thing.
I have so like one of my favorite stories is I was working at this place. It's the first time I had ever been there, right? And I was working with one of my friends, and I see this little girl in the crowd, and like I'm getting choked on the rope. So I like reach out to like and I tell her like, "Yo, tag me in, come in, help me out." And she was like just not about it, right?
Mm.
So at intermission, same little girl comes running up and just starts crying and just giving me like a big hug, right? And like there's a moment of like Red Dog, and then there's Cliff, and Cliff has a daughter. So instantly I go into dad mode. I'm like, "Yo, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Where's your parents? Is everything okay?" Like asking questions. And then her dad goes, "I've never seen this before." And I was like, "What are we talking about?" Like, she doesn't hug strangers. And I was like, "Oh." And I was like, "Is everything okay?" And she's like, "Well, I wanted to help you, but that guy was so big. I didn't want to get hurt." And I was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. We won anyway, right?" And then she like big smiles, and I was like, "All right, now we're out of this mode." And I was like, but yeah, it was one of my favorite moments because it was just there's this kid genuinely concerned and wanted to like help, but she just couldn't get involved because she was like, "I was gonna get hurt too," and I was like, "Oh, I got you."
That's awesome.
Yo, so could ask this question, right? Everybody gets these questions a lot, and I'm not gonna ask you this question, right? Because people will be like, "Have you always been a fan of wrestling?" Like, we know this to be true because you're in the business. So,
Mm.
what was the moment that made you go, "I have to get into the business"?
Uh, Probably Shawn Michaels and Undertaker the first time. That was first WrestleMania match they had was up there for me.
Yeah.
Just the rise of CM Punk in general is a big one for me. He ended up becoming my hero very quickly.
Hmm. Why is that?
I think just at where I was in my life, I was like 13. I was getting in that rebellious phase myself, and then when he, went on on his tangent of being the rebellious guy, it kind of really stuck with me.
So you're going through like this rebel phase, and
Yeah,
here's this dude like being a rebel too.
yeah, pretty much.
I can relate. I can understand that. I can understand that. I think for me, like my moment was I saw Halloween Havoc 1997 live.
Nice. Yep.
And I just got zeroed into Rey Mysterio. Like I'd always been a fan, but like that really locked me in. And then I'll be on it. It's been almost 14 years later. I was watching Raw, and they introduced The Rock as the guest host of WrestleMania. And I told myself, if there's any way that I can get into this business, I have to do it. And it took a few years, and by a few years I mean a lot. Um, but eventually I broke in, and I was like, this is where I belong. This is my Graceland." I was like,
Yeah,
want
it
to be here.
feels just being at shows feels so at home for me now. Like it really feels like it's where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing that's crazy is that like, and it's one thing for wrestlers. Like we always talk about having like a screw loose or something, right? But what I think really is like we're comfortable being in a ring around a lot of people watching us do our thing.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
think that's,
Once you've been doing it for a certain amount of years, for sure.
yeah. Well, and I think just trying to get in, right, into the business and like wanting to do this, right? You kind of like take a step back and you're like, well, do I belong? Will I make it? What's going on? How are these things happening? Right. And then you get in and then you can see like people light up, right? Like people who genuinely have a passion for being in professional wrestling. And I don't want to talk about the business side of things. I'm just like in professional wrestling, they just light up. And those are the type of people that you're like, oh, they're going to shine like in a ring. And and then, you know, you see their personality and stuff like that. Like you, when you wrestle, like you have like the baby face going for you. And then it's like the crowd gets behind you because they genuinely connect with you because they see themselves in you. And it's so cool to watch those transactions or that transaction happen, right? Of give and take between you and the crowd. And so the crowd gets behind you and they cheer for you. And then you give them that energy back because you're their warrior. You know, you're out there beating up the bad guy. So I think it's cool. And then like when you see that with other people who are the first time they get in a ring, and sure they're like scared or nervous, but then like the bell rings and then they're like their true like personality like breaks out of their shell and they're like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I get excited for that every single time I see it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, there's nothing like it. It's really just the coolest thing in the world. And it always has been for me ever since I'm like 8 years old. It's all I've ever really wanted.
See, it's for me what it is like there's this rush that you get, and I get it every so often, and I get it all the time in the ring, but outside of the ring, like I get it not very many times, right? I'll give a perfect example. We are recording this on August 7th, just to give you guys an idea where you can timestamp this. Yesterday was the 1500-meter run for the Olympics, right? And it's like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. My wife is in bed, right? She's like sleeping. And she just said she just heard this huge roar come from the living room, right? What happened is I watched the three Americans were in the finals of the 1500 and they were running, right? And they were in like fourth, fifth, and sixth place, right? And so dude from Norway is taking off. He's leading the pack. There's this dude from I think it was from Kenya, was like right behind him, this dude from Great Britain, and then your first American, right? All of a sudden, they get to the last 100 meters, right? And this American blows by everybody and wins. And here I am like, let's go! Just full energy, hair like standing up, goosebumps. And it's the same feeling I get when I think of like when The Rock came back for WrestleMania. Or every time I go to step in a ring and I just like look at the first person, I'm like, here we are. And then I just feel all of it. So I think about those kind of things. And it's like, I love that adrenaline rush that I get.
Yeah, I just love watching like crowd reaction videos on YouTube.
100%. When you actually, it's funny you mentioned that, right? So when you match study, right? And I don't usually talk about this on this show, so this would be like one of the first times. Do you just, so I was taught, right, to watch the match first as a fan, because that's the reason why you picked it, right?
Yeah.
You're a fan. Second time, watch it and then watch the movements, right? Because clearly you're looking for like what works, what doesn't work. You know, you're looking for this. But the third time, I was told, actually, so the first time watch it normally, second time watch it on mute, and then the third time watch it because you've already seen the match twice or as many times as you want. But the third time, watch just the fans and see where they're popping and where they're you know they're getting the rocks off, I guess is what we'll say. Do you do that?
Yeah, usually I look for basics when I watch stuff. I look for psychology. What I'm really looking for, like a good opening spot or a good comeback, good heat stuff. So, but that's a good way of doing it for sure.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it because I was thinking about crowd reaction because like I said, even for me, like watching the race and seeing Hawker is his name, just slide into first place and just roar into life. I was like, bro, this is how This is how I want people to feel during my matches. Like they're literally watching this this last 100 meters of a 1,500-meter run, and just going ape shit for it. Yo, let me ask you something really quick. What's the worst bump you've taken?
I guess either the suplexes I've taken on the floor.
Yeah.
Both of them came from Little Greatness, actually. Same building too, actually.
Yeah. Ow. No. Oh. Yeah. I couldn't do that. I couldn't. I don't want to take any bumps on the. There has to be something. Like it has to be. I can't do it. Like I know I get talked to it a lot, and I'm like, no, bro, I'm not hitting any bump not on the mat. Yo, what's one of the hardest lessons you've had to learn being in the ring?
Good question. That's a very good question. Probably that. Yeah, you do have to fend for yourself out there. There's going to be people that are going to want to take advantage of you out there for sure, and especially like in heat, like and stuff. If he's going too long, just to shoot a pin on them or something, or fight back in a little spot like that. That's always a good one. It's always stuck to me, and I always try to tell a lot of the younger kids.
I like that because there is a lot of people out there that like if you're not fighting back, they're just going to keep beating you up, and
Yeah,
even you want to fight back anyway because like let's be real, like if they put $1 million in the middle of a ring, you're not letting someone beat you up for 3 minutes. You're doing everything you can to get that $1 million. I saw that. I'll put it out there. Gino Told You So put up on his Facebook page, and I saw that, and I was like, yeah, why do I structure my matches where this dude gets like so much offense, and I'm over here just battling back the whole time? I was like, that would never happen if I wanted to fight for this money. But let me ask you one more question, right? Before I jump into my favorite part of the 3 Count podcast. So it's after the show. You are driving home. Where are you stopping, and what are you getting?
First thing's probably a gas station. Kind of gonna go off of craving, whatever. If I feel like something salty, it'll be like chips. Probably. I'm feeling more sweets. I got a lot of sour candies at gas stations too. It'd be like sour Skittles or like Haribo snakes or something like that. But kind of depends on the craving. But usually hit a gas station first. It's the first thing I do. But I don't eat a lot for like hours before wrestling.
Yeah, I usually try not to eat a lot when I travel down. I like to travel light.
Yeah.
Coming back up though, like wherever I'm at, I definitely try to find like a 7-Elevens or Cumberland's, or if I'm down in like the Maryland, Pennsylvania area, like Sheetz or Wawa's, and then
I got to Wawa for the first time for WrestleMania. I wish there were more up here. Their coffee is really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a good Wawa's, or good Sheetz too, bro. Like they have those like smash ass hamburgers that you can, bro, on another level. But hey, we're gonna take this over to my favorite part of the 3 Count podcast, right? And that is the 3 Count podcast 10 count questions. And Mr. Legend, this is how it works. I'm gonna fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast, and whatever your answer is, that's your answer.
Okay, I'm a little scared, but okay.
So we're gonna put on an imaginary timer for added pressure. Bing! And in the words of my favorite commentator, Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
Raw. Favorite
movie?
First Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Let's go. I like that. Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Favorite TV show?
How I Met Your Mother.
Let's go. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Favorite cartoon?
Probably the original Batman's.
Let's go. That's a great one. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Favorite podcast?
It's the Short Porch, the Yankee podcast, probably my favorite.
Let's go. I know that one. Nominate one person that you want to see on this show.
I'm gonna go with one of the new kids. either Sean Morris or Corey Fisher. They're definitely doing a lot of cool new things coming up from Kevin Landry's, and I definitely think they're people that are going to be coming up really, really soon, and they're going to be doing a lot of really cool things. I definitely want to see them get a bigger spotlight for sure.
Definitely. I like that. I like that a lot. And then last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person that comes on this podcast, favorite curse word.
Probably cunt.
Hey, see, I love the fact that you was like, go ahead, go right with it. Because there's so many people here that are like, it's the C word. That's my favorite word. And I think that word now has been said like 5 times on this podcast. Yo, so those are all my questions for you. So the last thing I need for you to do is to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Let's see, Maine. Saturday I'll be in Maine for New World Wrestling Extreme. That's going to be on Portland at the brewery. CXW on August 23rd. That's next Friday. And then the 31st, defending the title in the main event for TW against Clipper Jones.
There you go. Well, what about your socials?
So Instagram is at Stevie Legend Wrestler. Twitter, X, I should say, is Stevie_Legend. Stevie Legend on Facebook. Steven McBride on Snapchat.
Bet. So he gave you all of his handles. He told you where you can find him. Even gave you some of the promotions he'll be at. So you know what that means. Like every great part of a wrestling match, we got to take this home because this is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Brad Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And by now, you would all know that I am your Sherpa, but like every good Sherpa, you got to have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's into the ring. So who's into the ring? You see him right there. Not just a myth, not just a fairy tale. He is Stevie Legend, and you guys know what to do. Tune in to the next episode and be there, or you're legitimately following us on all of our social media platforms. You're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You're following us on Spotify. You're checking us out on Apple and Amazon Music. You're even listening to us on that dumb app with the stupid jingle that goes iHeartRadio or whatever it is. You're checking us out on foryourwear.com or even checking out our merch on ProWrestlingTees.com. You're doing all that stuff. You're telling your mom about us. You're telling your dad about us. Your uncles, your aunties, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your enemies, because we love haters too. You're doing all that stuff, or really you're just kind of waiting for this episode to end, waiting for that outro, and then you're choosing another episode to listen to. Kawaii. What's going on? It is Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And what we need from you guys is just kind of show some support, right? We want you guys to go to our YouTube channel at the 3 Count Podcast, go on to our Twitch channel, 3 Count Pod, or even our Facebook page, 3 Count Podcast, and just give us a like, follow, subscribe, even give us a comment, right? Do all that cool stuff. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your enemies, right? Or you can even come talk to us and just chat us up, right? Find us on Twitter at 3Count_pod. Find us on IG and on TikTok at 3 Count Pod. Go ahead and leave us those comments. We want to hear from all of you guys. We're going to keep putting on videos and stuff like that. We want to keep making this content better, so we want your guys' support. Also, if you guys want to, go support us at ProWrestlingTees.com/the 3 Count Podcast, or even find us on foryourwear.com. Give us the support. Show us your guys' love, because we want to give it right back to y'all. So, in the meantime, love y'all.